Welcome to Taleo Recruiting Elements of Foundation Data, Elements of your OLF. Let's get started. So today we are going to talk about the elements foundation. So those are you've created your structure of your OLF, and we are now going to kind of go through creating the elements of your OLF structure. Important point, if you're doing any type of edits inside of your SmartOrg, Foundation Data, or OLF, it's all the same thing. You need to make sure that you're in maintenance mode. So I'm in maintenance mode, and I'm going to go to my SmartOrg. So the elements management allows you to view the properties of each of your O, L, or F. And that's how you manage the structure that you've created. So if I look at my structure for my organization, I have my 4 levels. So that's my structure. I'm going to now go to my element, and you can see that I have multiples. So I have 62 of my level 1 structure. If I click into my structure, I now go to my level 2 of my structure, and continuing down, so I could create an additional level of my structure because I had 4. And then I would be able to create another child from that perspective. So let's just go into, so if I go, this is my 1, this is level 2, level 3, and then I could create an additional level 4. So when you are creating a new element, you need to create a code. So this is very possible that it could be an integration, but if you are doing it manually, you want to make sure that the code and the description you can match to your system of record. So I'm just going to create a test one here. In your elements, you have to associate a reference industry. So in the creation of that reference, it is basically tying it to a type of business. So this is good from not just from your company's perspective, but it is good from a perspective of Oracle providing industry type reporting. So that's why you want, or you have to, it's a requirement to set up an industry. So I'm just going to select, if you search, you can see there are 56 different levels or different types of mapping from an organization perspective. Not every zone will have business organizations set up. It's just in our demo zone that we have it, and it's required. So I'm going to select that. And if I needed to sequence the view of my organization, I would be able to provide it a sequence number. My zone has languages, so you have to create that information for each language. And just gonna put that. So it's not so much the mapping or the code, but the description. So you can see that I have now created a child under this one. So so that is creating an element. I can go in to any of these elements and I can edit. So if I needed to change my code or I needed to change my description, I can do that. And go back. You can also see my other actions. If I needed to move this child to another company structure, then I would be able to either do it from this perspective or from this perspective. So I'm just going to kind of display the view in terms of, you can see I have, I can go to my very first level. This is usually my company, the first level, or I can specify a specific one. So if I do my search, I would be able to move it to any one of these. So this is really important when you are in a situation of reorganization. It can be done. You can move your elements around. You just need to really make sure that you have everything documented to make sure you're not doing an incorrect move. I can also delete. So I created this just as a view for you. So I'm going to go ahead and delete. And it's going to give me a warning. And I have to select another level to move it to. I'm just going to go back because I'm just going to take this description so I can find it. I'm going to delete it. And this is a good piece as well because of the fact that if you are deleting a level of your organization, if you have requisitions, doing this transfer will help you be consistent in terms of not having inactives or deleted organizations in your requisitions. On the other hand, if you needed to keep the history, then what you would do is instead of deleting, you can deactivate it. So if I deactivate a level, it's going to give me the warning, are you sure? So when I create a requisition, my deactivated organizations are not going to be there, but it will be in the history. So if I have an existing requisition, it will keep that deactivated. I can activate it again. So that's the elements from the perspective of an organization. So if I go back, the same concept here for job fields. So I can create the same way, I can edit, I can move. So if I needed to move all of these to a top parent level, I can do that. You can see that I have some drafts. When I go into the details, I still have to provide a mapping. And if I do my search, use keywords, I'm just going to use the top level and I make it active. So the same component of organization and function. I've left locations for the end because one difference is you have the ability to add locations and that will tap into the Oracle libraries. So if I was to select the top level, for example, of Afghanistan, it would give me absolutely everything. So from a best practice perspective, we always say don't use the add it can be very cumbersome, and you can end up having locations in your organization, in your OLF, that you're not doing business in. So the best way is to do a create. When you do a create, so I'm in Canada, I'm going to create the province of Nova Scotia. You still need to do a reference mapping. So from a country and state and province perspective, not a problem in terms of finding those locations. But when you get to the city level, not absolutely every city will be available in the Oracle library. So you will need to do some work in terms of finding the closest location for some of your cities. And if I quickly show you that, I can create so if I do a search, it's not there. So I do know that it's in the Halifax area, so I can easily map it to Halifax. So it is the closest region. In addition to that, I can also provide a zip code that would add the specific locations of Hammonds Plain as an example. So those are the details of element management. So we reviewed creating, editing, moving an element, and deleting, and then also adding a level and transferring the details of an element, deactivating an element. There are more information in terms of the behaviors of deactivated elements. You can find that information in the Oracle documents in terms of what would happen if you to your different places inside of Taleo. So recruiting file, or sorry, a candidate file, or your search mechanism. And that. I hope this has helped you in terms of the element management of your foundation data. Thank you.